to understanding that I had to do the work for myself. So again, let me backtrack. What is the work? The work is, number one, showing up for yourself. What does it mean to show up? There's so much of this talk about showing up. It's become something that's more and more common in day-to-day conversation. So showing up is just that, being there for yourself and for others. In a society where checking out, numbing, disconnecting from our experience has become not only normal but encouraged. So the fact that we can binge watch series on TV is a great example of how checking out's encouraged. So you might just put one episode on, and before you've even thought about it, the next episode is available for you to watch straight away. You don't have to do anything, it's just there. And you can end up watching 2 or 3 in a row. Oh, go on, I'll just watch one more. Oh, well, let me see what happens next. Oh, I'm really interested. Because it's just there. It's available. The ability for us to shop online. We don't even have to go anywhere. And it's just there. We can be in our bed, wake up in the middle of the night, flick on our phone. Phones. Another way that we can check out and not be in our experience. So how many of us have an alarm on our phone? And when the alarm goes off on our phone, it's so easy to check your notifications, go onto social media, whatever that is for you, Facebook, Instagram, I don't know what the others are, TikTok, whatever, Twitter. Go on there, and then what could be just a quick glance, you end up scrolling and scrolling, and before you know, you've been on there for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever amount of time is. So these are all the examples, and there's many more, of how our society has evolved to encourage us to check out and not be present for the things that we need to do. And when we consistently have those types of behaviours, we put ourselves in a position where being connected to what's actually happening in our lives may become quite challenging. So showing up is the ability to be connected with your experience and engage consciously with it at that moment in time. So showing up, that's the first thing about doing the work. The next thing about doing the work is acknowledging some of the behaviours, the thoughts, the actions, and the feelings, the emotions and energy we have around certain experiences in our lives, and that they therefore cause us to act out from that place. So I'll give a simple example. Let's say you have a car accident, and it isn't something that is too life-changing in the sense that you don't sustain serious physical injuries. You have some whiplash and you're really shaken up by the experience. We may look at that experience and think, you know, I wasn't that seriously hurt, I'm doing okay, I'll get on with life and it's fine. But then you start to notice fear every time you get into the car, when you're driving, and the level of the fear that you experience when somebody else drives goes through the roof because you don't have any control over the situation. This starts to affect the way that you interact with others, the choices that you make around what you do in your life. So you may start avoiding going to meet people where you have to drive. You may avoid going and connecting with people where they drive or take you to places because you just don't want to be put in that experience. You might start having dreams and flashbacks about the accident. So this seemingly non-significant little accident then starts to affect how you do life. And you may go along with that and continue to make choices based on how you feel from the effect of that experience, or you may get to the point where you decide you want things to change. So you start showing up and you make conscious choices about changing your experience. So those are the first two things about doing the work. And then the third thing is actually being able to sit with the feelings that experience brings up for you. And again, in a culture where everything is geared towards avoidance, suppression, repression, disconnection, and checking out, numbing ourselves. The idea of sitting with how we feel can bring up so much fear. It can bring up so much avoidance and desire to run in the opposite direction. It can bring up the thought that we would not be able to contain how we feel if we access those feelings. So the best thing is to push them away, not connect with them, and carry on with our lives in the false belief that if we do this, excuse me, windy, if we do this, that we'll be okay. We'll be able to control our way out of it through our thoughts, actions, and behaviours, and actually we'll be just fine. Don't need to think about it. If we ignore it, we somehow think that it's going to go away. And Carl Jung said it perfectly. I'm giving the paraphrased quote when he said, "What we resist persists." So in our conscious mind, we can trick ourselves into saying, it's fine, I'm fine, I'm okay, I'll just push it away, don't have to feel it, don't have to deal with it, it's in the past, I am gravy, baby. But the truth is, like in the example I gave before about having the car accident, we will start to change who we are in order to give ourselves the false sense of security that this situation, relationship, event, circumstance doesn't affect us. But in taking so much energy and effort to change who we are in order to not think about it, not be influenced by it, not be affected by it, we are doing just that. We are displaying the extent to which this situation, relationship, event, experience is actually running and controlling our lives. So when we show up, we make, or it might be the other way around. It might be that we make the decision to change, then we show up, probably. And then we decide to sit with the feelings, the energy, the thoughts, the fears that this particular situation brings up for us. We can move into a space of integration. And the reason we need to integrate following on from the fact that when we try to avoid the feelings, when we try to avoid the thoughts, when we try to avoid the pain or destruction caused by this relationship, event, situation, or thoughts, we then become fragmented. We cannot be a whole person because we have to reject parts of us in order to carry on in this false belief that if we ignore that situation, person, relationship, event, we'll be okay. And that causes all kinds of internal conflict that will be expressed externally. So by integrating, which is feeling the feelings, being with the thoughts, being with the energy, we can then start making it a part of who we are. And that does not mean that we accept what's happened, or we, particularly if it's something that we feel that is a violation of us, a violation of our sovereignty as a human being, something that's disrespectful. But when we are able to integrate it, which means we come to a space of acceptance, and what acceptance allows us to do is it allows us to acknowledge our feelings, our thoughts, the actions that we've had to take around whatever this stimulus is. And that place of acceptance means that we can acknowledge how we've had to be and the protections that we may have created to avoid feeling this thing. The acceptance gives us an opportunity to take the silver linings, to learn from the pain, the destruction, the confusion, the fragmentation, the fear, all these behaviours, all these thoughts, all these feelings that have caused us to be disconnected, that have maybe caused us to be all over the place, that have caused us to adopt protections that are actually in the long run harmful to us. So whether we numb out and check out on watching too many things on the TV, films, playing video games the whole time. There's a rainbow behind me, it's just really sweet. I just saw that in the sky. Shop too much, drink too much, take drugs, keep ourselves so busy that we don't have the opportunity to be with ourselves for too long. We can acknowledge that we've had to do these things, and we can also acknowledge that there's a different way of living, that we can make different choices, and that these different choices can open up a whole new life experience that we have maybe thought wasn't possible. A level of ease, a level of flow, a level of grace that we haven't experienced because of this effect of this particular relationship, situation, emotions, thoughts, and the way they've influenced how we've done life. So this is what the work is. Why do we have to do the work? Who cares?
Don't forget to subscribe. Ella.O.